Hey everyone, in this video I'll be recreating this animation which you can see on the screen on Adobe After Effects, but I'm creating this tutorial from scratch so you guys can do the same as well. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so that I can create more videos like this. And yeah, let's get straight into it. Okay, the first thing we need to do when creating the scene is that we need to create that reels which you can see on the background of the subject. And to do that, what we need to do is go to Instagram itself and you can check out some big creators who are creating content. And yeah, you can actually download the videos. How you can do that is actually you can get a video of a creator. Next up, you can go to a website called snapinsta.app, and what you can do is actually just copy the link of the video and then just paste it here and then press on download and wait here, and yet from here you can download the video. And yeah, that is how you can actually add it on the composition. Okay, here are some bunch of reels which I recently downloaded and will be using to create the design. So what I'm going to do next is actually just create a shape layer around them, a stroke around them, so that it just looks a lot more nicer to look at. And then increase the stroke of it, okay, like that, and just a little bit adjustments, and that will be it. This is how we'll be creating a frame, and we'll be doing for each one of these. So let me just do it quickly. Okay, next up we have added all the frames and to all the reels, so that does look a lot more better. Next up, what we're going to do is just add a little glow effect onto the frame, so that it just looks a lot better. We'll be using the deep glow effect on it. You can see in the screen right now it does look a lot more better. We're just going to be lowering the exposure of it so it looks a lot more natural. Now we'll be adding the same glow on rest of the shape layers as well. Okay, that's how it looks right now. Now what we're going to do is create a pre-composition of all the reels with their frames. So let's suppose this is one frame and we're going to be creating a pre-composition with the adjacent layer with the adjacent reel. So let's suppose this is once again this one it is. These two are adjacent together, and what we'll be doing is we'll be creating a pre-composition of it. And now once we have created this pre-composition, we'll be doing it similarly for all the other reels as well, so it becomes more easier to manage it. Okay, now we have created pre-composition of all these reels with their frames. Now it will be a lot more easier to manage them. You can see right now on the screen I can just select one of the composition and both the frame as well as the reel are collected together. Next up, what we are going to do, we are going to be aligning them one by one, side by side, so it becomes a lot more easier for us to create that animation, create that line animation, create that animation where we are moving all the rails together from one end to another. So now what we're going to do is we're trying to achieve a futuristic effect on these reels, which you have probably seen on the animation recently, which we have showed, which we'll be making today. So the first thing we need to is to create that bluish look onto the reels, and let's add some kind of fill effect, not onto the complete compositions, because it will also add the fill effect on the shape layer which we have kept. Instead, in the composition inside itself, going to be copying the shape layer which we have already created, because the stroke is already there. We're going to be clicking off the stroke and actually activated the fill of the shape layer. And what we're going to do is actually we change it to color and make it some kind of a bluish type of tint, of a bluish color. Next up, what we're going to do is we're going to be lowering the opacity so it looks a lot more better. Okay, another thing which we are going to do is we're going to be adding a vinicius blinds effect onto the reel itself, so we can get this some kind of a dash type of look, so it looks like a kind of a VCR type look onto the video. It will look a lot more better. We're going to be giving it a 5 and keep the width a little bit like this. So this is how it will be looking right now. So it looks really good, and we'll be doing it for all the reels. Okay, now once we have got all these reels and effects all added to them, now what we're going to do is going to be animating them. First we need to do is to get the reels behind the subject of the video. We need to actually rotoscope the subject out of the video. Okay, to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to be actually brushing the subject out of the video. But before that, what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be animating all the reels itself, so it will be a lot more easier for us later on. We don't need to be rotoscoping later, because rotoscoping is a very hectic work. So first we'll be animating this reel card itself as well. So let's adjust them all together like this, and let's move them. One problem we are facing right now currently is that we cannot see the other parts of the other reels right now. We can see the first two here, but the other three are actually behind the camera. So to do and check out that, what we can do a quick solution for it is we can increase the width. We'll be doing this for a short amount of time, and then we'll be readjusting it back to once our task is all done. Okay, that is good. Once we adjust all these, it will be fine for us. Okay, once all of these are adjusted right now in line by line form, we'll be actually making them all 3D, so we can enhance the look of it. We can add some rotations to it so it looks a lot more better. So which is the first one which we are going to do. and we can kind of create a circle type of effect around it. We'll be pressing R and we will get the rotation, so we'll be adjusting, making some adjustments in the y-axis, so we can get that circle-ish type of effect on it, overall circle type of look onto the videos. You don't need to make a lot of adjustments on all the rotation of all the reels. You need to mostly do it on the outer parts, which is the first and the last one. Okay, now we have adjusted the rotation of all the reels, and this is how it actually looks right now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to be animating it. A quick solution of it, so that we do not need to animate all of these reels, is what we'll be going to do is we'll be actually animating one of it, and then we'll be making that one reel parent of rest of the reels. So I'm going to be showing you how you can do it once again. So a good and better solution is to actually just change the number of these pre-composition to video 1, 2, 3. That will be a lot more easier for us to actually identify these. Okay, we're going to be renaming it to video 1, video 2, so it becomes a lot more easier for us. Okay, now once we have renamed all these, becomes a lot more easier for us to identify. I should have done this a lot more earlier, but yeah, sorry for that. Okay, the first thing which we are going to do is actually we'll be parenting the video 1 with all the other videos, so it becomes easier for us, because why we're doing this is because we'll be animating just video 1 and the rest of the reels will be automatically following all the actions of the parent video. Okay, so how you can do that is you can just actually create and select this parent link option, and just from being none to make it to video 1. Now what happens that once I actually move video 1, you guys can see all the position of all the child reels are also moving up and down. Okay, now we'll be starting to animate this position. Once we adjust the position from this part, we'll be adjusting it from this part. This is the start point and this will be the end point. We'll be moving it, sorry, one second, I should have moved the straight. We'll be moving it from here over the subject. This is enough, I suppose. So this is how it will look once again, and I have pressed F9 to make the keyframes a lot more smoother, and we'll be pressing this graph editor so that we make it even more smoother. What usually happens for people is that sometimes the graph editor is actually open in the edit value graph, so it looks something like this. So to adjust it again, you need to just open this part. Okay, then press edit speed graph and you will get some kind of interface like this. Okay, now what we can do is actually just rotoscope the subject out of this video, so it looks a lot more better. So to do that, we're going to go to roto brush, here tool, select the roto brush tool and select the subject. We need to do it one by one, and let me just do it this quickly. By the way, you can just press Alt and then drag to the part which you do not want to add in the rotoscope, and the rest of it you can just select the subject you want to. Okay, once you have rotoscope, your composition will look something like this, where the person is actually rotoscoped out of the video. So now to make it look how we want to and make these videos look behind of the rotoscoped, behind of the subject, we're going to create a duplicate of this video which we have already rotoscoped. You can see here, create a duplicate of it and then keep that duplicated layer above all the layers behind these reels. Then what we're going to do is remove the roto brush from the original layer. Okay, this is how it will look right now. That's it. More adjustment, like you can increase the feather, you can increase the contrast so that it looks a lot more better. Now what we're going to do is actually reset the composition settings back to the normal one so that it becomes easier and manageable for us to create the rest of the animations. So this is how it looks currently. For now, this looks a lot more nice and it looks really cool. Okay, now to transition to the next animation, to the next scene, what I'll be using is, first I'll be using grid background and adjust it right now at this place. This background will be available in the project file which you can access for free in the description of the video. So we'll be adding and creating the next scene and starting the next scene from here. First we'll be adding all the elements to the scene itself. Okay, now we'll be starting the to get more sales for the. Did you know that 90% of these creators are using Instagram stories to get more sales for their business? Right now we'll be adding some text here, and the font I'm using for this text is actually a combination of, once again I'm going to be showing you together. And the text I'm using here right now is a combination of two fonts. The larger font is actually made out of sans medium. It is set on medium, and the second one is going to be Helvetica Neo bold. Okay, that is going to be it, and we're going to be align it on the left side, and this one aligning it on the right side. This is how it looks right now. let's change the color of the text to of the down one to white, and also the color of $3,000 to white as well. Let's add the dollar sign as well in it. Okay, this looks really good right now. Next up, we're going to be adding dollar bill into the scene. You can get this from Canva, or you can get it on from PNG Wing. PNG Wing is where I got it from for free. And yeah, we'll be adding this one in this side and one on the other side. Already the scene looks really good here, and we just need to make some animations and stuff, and it will look a lot more better. First, this is done. Now what we're going to be doing is to add more details. We're going to be adding a little star, not a little one, it's going to be actually a larger one. That's currently off its fill, and let's set the stroke color to yellow, some kind of a golden type, so it looks a lot more aesthetic. And once this is done, okay, let's keep it behind the text, behind $3,000, so it looks something like this right now. So this is how our animation right now is looking like. Currently the scene is looking like. To make some more adjustments, let's add a deep glow effect into the star. One second, let me add it from here. Okay, it looks, let's increase the radius and let's lower the exposure a bit. So this is how our scene is currently looking like. Let's increase the exposure. Okay. Let's decrease the radius. This is how the scene currently looks like. A lot more better. We'll be making some transitions and animations later on here, but first let's just create the basics and set the scene itself, and then we'll be moving on from here. Okay, now we'll be making some animations and the transition for this part so that it becomes a lot more smoother. First, we'll be actually animating the star itself. So to do that, what we're going to do is go to this add button, click the add button from the shape layer. Next, go to trim paths, click on trim path, and what we're going to do is going to be pressing this end button, stopwatch next to the end button to animate it. We're moving the keyframe a little bit away and out from it, behind this part, and we're going to be starting from 0. Okay, and then we're going to be selecting both the keyframes. Press F9 to make it a lot more smoother. Press the graph editor to just make the speed up a lot more faster. To enhance the smoothness of it, will be increase the motion blur so it becomes a lot more smoother. And this is Instagram stories to get more, using Instagram stories to get. Okay, this looks good. What we have to do next is to animate both these dollar bills as well as the background. So first we're going to be animating the background. But to do that, we'll be creating another position animation. Okay, so to do that, we'll be again just creating those keyframes. First we'll be creating the position keyframe, which we have done in here. Select the stopwatch next to the position, and let's again lower the position of this right from the bottom. Okay, so again we are selecting both the keyframes, pressing F9 to make it smoother, and then we're going to be adjusting the speed of it. Stories to get more sales for them. Okay, this is how it looks. We're just going to be selecting the motion blur to make it even more smoother. We're going to be just making it a little bit, distancing the stories to get more sales for their business. Stories to get more sales for to make it more smoother. Let's make the background just come from a bit before. Instagram stories to get more sales. Instagram stories to get more sales. Okay, this looks good. Okay, what we can do right now here is that we can actually create a animation here itself, a position keyframe from here where it starts to show the $3,000 per month at this point. And what we're going to do is we're going to be adding a opacity keyframe as well. So for selecting opacity, what I did was actually press the T button. If you press the P button, you get the position. If you press the R button, you get the rotation. And to get the opacity, you get to press the T button. Okay, now for checking out all the keyframes which you have already added, what you need to do is actually press the U button. So as I press the U button, it has shows me all the keyframes which I have added into this layer. And what I'm going to do is going to be lowering the opacity from here, and we're going to do is lowering the position itself. So how it looks like right now is like this. Go to again selecting and more sales for their business. More sales for their business. Now the only thing is left to animate are the dollar bills right now. And to do that, we'll be using a special kind of a effect for it called the CC page turn. Okay, let's add CC page turn. Let's add it to first on this lower dollar bill. Okay, so what the CC page turn is, actually it simulates the page turn effect. It's a really cool effect which you can add on your pictures. And let me just adjust it once again. Okay, now once the PCC page turn is added, first we're going to be adding a keyframe at this position itself, because it's already on the right position, and we'll be now animating it as if it's folding up. So to do that, we're just going to be increasing these fold positions together and increasing it one by one. Okay, we're going to be moving it from this side itself. So that's how it will be folding. Once again, we're going to be doing it, and this is currently how it looks like. Okay, it looks really good. Okay, now we're going to be again selecting both the keyframes, pressing F9 to make it even more smoother, and then with the graph editor we're going to be smoothing stories to get more sales for them. It looks a lot more better. Doing similarly for the upward dollar bill as well. Again, I'm going to be we're selecting the page turn, CC page turn, and like similarly we'll be again just selecting the keyframe on next to the fold position, adjusting it to similarly where it was for the second dollar bill as well. This is definitely not easy to do, and let's do this right now. I think we're doing it right. Okay, yes, now it looks a lot more better. It is going to be looking a lot more better, as one will be folding from one side, one will be folding from the other side. Okay, now this is how it looks. Look at that. It looks really nice. It looks a lot more better. The transition is absolutely super smooth. We can definitely add a lot more details and more things to it right now, and we'll be going to do it right now. Okay, now this is done, we need to add some effects onto the text itself. What we're going to be adding is actually a gradient ramp effect onto our text, and we're going to make it look like something like this instead of the traditional simple white look, so it looks a bit more better. And what we're going to do for the rest of the text, we're going to be adding more text right now once again to show you guys. And that text will be actually saying $5,000, so that we show that there's some kind of an increase. And that text will actually not be having the gradient ramp effect, because we actually want to change the color of that text, of especially the $5,000, into something that is actually yellowish, something like that. Okay, and let's transition out this $3,000 per month part. Do that first. We'll be doing something like, 1 second. Again, we'll be adding 2 keyframes in here. Let's make it something like this. Okay, looks right now something like this. It's not smooth enough. I definitely need to make some changes right now. Okay, yep, I need to make this change. I think the 3000 text is actually moving a bit too much upward, so let's lower it. Okay, this looks still a lot more better. Similarly, let's add a third text, which is going to be saying $10,000 per month, and which we need to keep its animation a bit further away. make it say $10,000 a month, and let's animate it to something. Okay, this is definitely really hard to see. Once again, let me just adjust it. You can see, guys. Okay, okay, done. $10,000 is secured. Now from this position, okay, I thought where was the $5,000 gone. Okay, I actually just clicked off this wash button. So 1 second. Now from at this part, we are going to be just making it go from here like this. Okay. Oh, okay, it looks good. So this is currently how it looks like. Really good and smooth. But we need to adjust the text for the $10,000 because it is moving a lot more on the right side. So to do that, let me just actually just lower the scale of this. Yeah, but still I need to make some adjustment on the movement. And I think that is going to be fine. So currently it looks something like this. Okay, it looks good. From this part, because there is some the animation actually moving a lot more on the right side. Now this is going to be fine. So this is currently how it looks like. We can add a CC light sweep effect to make the text look a lot more glowy. So where we're going to be searching for CC light sweep, adding it to the text, and right now you guys can see that we're going to be adjusting the center of it so that it can become visible for us. And you guys can see there is a sweep effect right now here. It will not be visible a lot on the colors like these, which are already very light and very vibrant, but it will be visible on, especially on the green color, which we will be adding on the next text. So this is how it will be looking at here, and we're going to be copying and pasting it for the $10,000 mark as well. Let's add it here, and yeah, definitely you can see here that it is definitely looking a lot more better. Again, add the deep glow effect, one of my favorite effects. Increase the radius a little bit and then copy and paste onto the other two text. Sorry. So this is currently how our video looks like. The transition looks absolutely on point. A few things more needed to be added. Now it looks like we need to add the camera movement. And first we need to do is actually press somewhere here and actually go to new and select camera button. Select the default settings, whatever they are, because it will be fine. The next, select the null object as well, so that we can actually move the camera using the null object itself as we parent it. Okay, now what we need to do is actually make all these layers into 3D layers, including all these grids. Okay, you guys can see these reels which were behind the layers are also popping up. This is because actually now the layers are not 3D. So what we need to do and we have to do is actually just adjust the positions of these backgrounds. That's it. So how we're going to be doing is actually now the z-axis is actually available. Okay, you guys can see here. This is how I'm going to be doing it. Adjust some positions for the video one so we do not face these kinds of issues. Yep, you guys can see right now we are going to be increasing a little bit scale so it is still larger, and to adjust the size of it, we'll just increasing the scale because the scale is actually not going to be moving it from the z-axis. Once again, let me just adjust the videos once more. Okay, this is a mistake I made. I did not know. I forgot that I made an animation keyframe here as I actually moved the position. So let me just fix it. Let me just remove this keyframe once again, and let's just adjust the keyframe itself once again, and this is how it will be looking like, and increase the scale of it. Okay, this looks good. Let's copy and paste scale to both of these grids and as well as the position of this one, which is at 103. Let's also adjust it to 103. It's adjusted on 10, not adjusted on 103. Once again 3, and this will be as well position on 103. Perfect. We have got our solution. So this is currently how our composition looks like. Okay, we have spot on got the animations and transition. We're going to be using the camera. So first we're going to do is actually creating a keyframe position on the null so that we can make a transition. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be just moving the whole space down at this point. Okay, there. Okay, we have actually adjusted the whole space down at this point. So what we need to do is, you can clearly see that our background is actually right now gone. So to increase the length of our background, what we will be doing is, we'll be using an effect called CC Reptile. Okay, and we'll be adding it to our backgrounds on all the backgrounds. So right now we'll be just simply increasing this, expanding the all the size of Instagram stories to get more sales for their business. And I'm going to show an exact 4-step. Once again, I think we made some mistakes or something, because our composition looks a bit messy right now, and the reason why it is because, okay, the reason was because as we increased the length of the backgrounds as well, we remember that we created a position keyframe for this part. So to fix that, we need to just adjust it and make it even more lowered, and that will fix our position, fix our problems, hopefully. I'm going to show an exact 4-step plan. Okay, we also made some kind of a mistake in our first keyframe, so now we're going to be just actually fixing this keyframe so that it looks fine. Did you know that 90% of these creators are using Instagram stories to get more sales for their business? And I'm going to show an exact 4-step plan so you can do it too. Okay, not so smooth. We can adjust the null keyframe here right now. We're just going to be pressing F9 again. We're moving to the graph editor and then speeding it up right now. And I'm going to show an exact 4-step plan so you can do it too. Okay, now what we're going to be is using and creating an adjustment layer right now to change the background from being black to actually white, so that it feels like everything has been transitioned. And to do that, what I'm going to do is just create an adjustment layer and go to effects and actually select invert. So you can see clearly on the screen right now, we made our composition right now in white background. And to create a transition fill look, what I'm going to do is create an opacity keyframe and animation right now. To do this animation, what I'm going to be is actually going to opacity, and then what I'm going to do is moving with each frame by pressing Control left or Control right of to however I want. Right now I'm going to be moving it from the left side, so I'm going to be again make it to 0, and then pressing Control left again, I'm going to make it 100 again, Control left on 0, Control left and making it 100 again, Control right, I'm going to be making it 0, so it looks something like 4-step plan. So you, and I'm going to be adjusting at the point where I was moving them, moving the whole composition, so it feels like there's a transition going on. So this is currently how it looks right now. Okay, now we'll be creating a phone animation, and to do that, first we need to get a PNG or a picture of a phone from Canva or something. And I got this phone frame from Canva itself. So right now what I'm going to do is actually just paste it here. First I need to make it 3D because what will happen once I make it 3D, it will go and move on to the downward position, because we made the whole composition actually move upward. So that is why we need to get the phone frame right now up here. Next up, to create some kind of a scene, we're going to be adding a shape layer onto it. We press the rounded rectangle tool to create a rounded rectangle, because we do not need a stroke right now. We actually need the fill, and let's just create the fill in this color, a bluish color, because the bluish color really suits a lot with the white color background. And make the layer actually behind the phone. So this is currently how it looks like. And then what I'm going to do next is add some pictures and elements. What I'm going to do is actually add a brain picture right now, and I'm going to go to Canva to get it. Okay, currently I've added the brain picture, but the problem is that it's actually right now in the black color. So again, I'm going to be adding an invert effect on the picture itself. And yes, currently it looks white color. This is how we actually want the color scheme to be consistent. Next up, we're going to be writing the text itself of 4-step plan. So we're going to be writing 4-step plan. Now let's just adjust the text a little bit. I use the Helvetica New Bold font right now, and for the plan I'm going to be using Beach Bar script font, and going to be adjusting all the whole text into, and make the complete text into white color. Let's just adjust the, what we can say, the font. So this is currently how it looks like. Okay, to add more detail, I'm going to be adding a light bulb picture above the brain. So I'm going to be just getting a quick bulb animation from Canva itself, so that I can use it onto my videos. Okay, now I'm going to be adding it above this brain. So this is how it currently looks like. 4-step plan. It really looks amazing in my opinion. Okay, now we're going to be adding some details, and before that you can guys can see right now that the reason why this is happening is because few of our elements are actually not in 3D mode right now, and the reason why I've not have done that currently is because first I'm thinking actually to just actually complete the elements and animations of and details of the part inside the phone, and then actually compose it completely, and then actually make it 3D so that I do not have to make every single thing and just every single thing at a time. So first what we are going to do is add deep glow effect onto the brain animation. Put the deep glow effect onto the brain. Next up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding wiggle animation onto the light bulb. So to do that again, we're going to be selecting the light bulb and then pressing the alt position and then pressing wiggle 7. Okay, so this is how it will be looking like. As I think our details for the phone part is done, what I'm going to do is creating them all into, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be creating them all into a pre-composition. So this is how it actually looks like, but you guys can only see that where's the phone part gone. We move the phone part inside into an upward space. What we're going to do is we have to readjust it back to the normal part. Now it will be also as well as fixed into our composition, and now again we can just make it 3D, and the whole thing will be 3D together itself, and it will be a lot more less nuisance for us to face. Coming back to the video, let's just make some more details and add some more details onto it. Okay, next up we're going to be adding Instagram little Instagram icon on the top. Okay, I've got that Instagram icon right now, and I'm going to be adding it right now in here. Okay, I've got the Instagram icon and I'm going to be adding it here. I have made it 3D already, and I have also adjusted the rotation of it. Now what I'm going to do is actually to make it look even more better, I'm going to be adding a drop shadow on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the color of the drop shadow according just blue, just like the phone background, and I'm going to be just increasing the distance away so you guys can clearly see it looks a lot more 3D now. So that looks amazing right now. And now the final thing which is almost left is actually to create those 4 steps buttons on here and then animate them. So first we need to create these first we need to create the buttons shapes itself. So it will look something like this. Create the shape. The first thing I'm going to do is just literally make them 3D, so all of them I can copy paste them one by one. Okay, here they are. I was a little scared. I thought I don't know where they went. This is going to be one, and I'm going to be adding a text in here first, but I'm going to be copying and creating 4 of these. 2. Okay. Making 3, and I'm going to be adding a last one and moving it in this position, and that's going to be 4. Just select all of them together and adjust the positions once again, and this is how it looks right now. 1 2 3 4. Let's add a text in here stating and saying 1. Okay, and let's adjust the size of it. This is the reason why you guys can actually not see it on the screen. There it is. Just a little bit more adjustments and make it 3D first, because we need to get it back up and position. We can just copy it from the shape layer. Okay, now we made some mistakes. Okay, now we have just made it 3D, and let's get it back up to its place where we want it to be. 1 second, let's hopefully, and there it is. We got it. Okay, we're just going to be increasing the z-axis position as well so that it is above the button. Let's just adjust the scale of it a little bit more. Okay, that's perfect. We'll be duplicating it and then creating second, and then change the number from 2. Alright, that's how it looks right now. Let's just again what I'm going to do is just pre-compose buttons, and let's just do it together itself, and we'll be animating it together itself. How we are going to be doing it: first we need to again making the same mistakes again and again. I'm going to be making them get lower again, get the position of this set up. The main thing is just to get them inside this composition. That's the goal. Now let's adjust the positioning. Looking good here. We're looking good here. So this is currently how the composition is looking like. Okay guys, I made a one mistake right now. The one thing I have done in this phone animation, I actually added the null itself into the PT composition. So if you guys actually have done the same as well, I'm sorry for that. You can actually just cut it out from here by pressing Ctrl X, and again re-adding it to the composition at this point. Okay, once you have got the null outside, again what you need to do is again just select the camera and actually parent it to null itself. And what you need to do is adjust some positioning right now. Currently it is positioned already on the upward part. So the first keyframe, again you need to position it back to where it was actually being keyframed at the start. So this is the part of it. Again, sorry guys for this mishandling. I actually just currently making the video actually at 4 a.m. So I have made some mistakes right now. Hopefully everything will be done better and later on. So currently this is how the video looks like. Currently we can see the animation looks really good. Few more adjustments can be made. Okay, definitely a lot more adjustments can be made. We're going to be just fixing this position of this part, so it is absolutely on point. Okay, that looks good to me. What we're going to do is add the same position animation which we have added for the other parts as well. The position and including the opacity, actually just adjust them there, and again lower the make it to 0, make the opacity to 0, select all the keyframes and make them F9, it like that. Okay, perfect. The speed has been adjusted very well. Next up, what I'm going to do is actually mix a little bit more details. Okay, first we are just going to make a little zoom in on here so it looks good, and the second thing I'm going to make is add a zoom in on this null part as well, this position part, so that it has a zoom in effect on this part as well, so it looks something like this. Going to be making it a bit more faster at this part. Similarly at this part will be looking like something like this. Okay, this looks good. We can actually add a wiggle effect onto the whole null, so it feels like actual camera being held and being wiggled, so it is a really nice touch. Now it's time, I think, for the final sauce, the part which actually makes the video completely stand out. Okay, now what we'll be doing is we'll be adding some adjustment layers which are going to be enhancing the look of the video. And the first adjustment layer and my favorite effect is going to be definitely the posture time effect. Let me just add it quickly and go to effects and go to posture as time. Give the frame rate at 16 because that's the perfect one. Create another adjustment layer. Create a Gaussian blur and vignette effect. First we need to go to effects and actually select Gaussian blur and set the blurriness to something like 38. Next up we're going to be creating a mask. Let's go to the rectangle tool or this, then go to ellipse tool and create this ellipse mask over it. Next up what we're going to do is actually subtract the mask instead of adding it, and then we're just going to be increasing the feather. Then later on I'm going to be showing you once we add the vignette. Now you guys can clearly see that the vignette is actually too heavy. We're going to be lowering the amount of the vignette. The reason why we add feather is because if you do not add feather, the thing happens is that the edges feel a bit more sharp, and we actually do not want that. We want the edges to be absolutely smooth, so that's why we add feather, and it looks overall a lot more smoother. We're going to be adding a little bit of a exposure kind of a wiggle effect as well. So for that I'm going to be adding an exposure. Okay, then next up what I'm going to do is increase the exposure a little bit, and then what I'm going to do is actually putting a wiggle effect onto the exposure. So it will be something like the elements will be 0.15. So currently it will look something like this. Now because we do not want the wiggle effect and all the effects added to be together onto in this composition itself, what now next I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be adjusting all these things. Also I'm going to be adjusting the trim path a little bit of the shape layer, of the star shape layer, because it is just being showing up a bit too quick in my opinion. So at this point I think it suits. So in this point itself we can add some kind of a opacity effect onto this. It will be something like this. Okay, this looks a lot more better. So this is currently how our composition looks like. Did you know that 90% of these creators are using Instagram stories to get more sales for their business? And I'm going to show you an exact 4-step plan so you can do it too. So quickly, I'm going to be adjusting these keyframes, just some keyframes. I'm going to be showing them a bit more earlier. That's what the goal is. Also just going to make them a bit shorter as well, so that that 10,000 keyframe actually shows up a lot more earlier. That's the thing, mainly. Did you know that 90% of these creators are using Instagram stories to get more sales for their business? And I'm going to show you an exact 4-step plan so you can do it too. Okay, I think that is it. The animation has been completed. And yeah, again, like if you have guys like got and found this video very valuable, please do like and share it with other guys as well so that they can find this video valuable. And again, like previously, the project file will be available in the description of the video. Let me know definitely on the comments on what videos should be I creating next and what type of tutorials I should be creating next, so that hopefully you guys can get value from it. And yeah, thank you so much and take care.